Suppose you have a foreground and background really well matched for color and light, and the shot just doesn't quite look right. Well, if your source includes the addition of any still or computer-generated images to a live-action plate, grain may be your culprit. But rather than show you how to remove grain, let me demonstrate how adding and matching it will help you sell the shot. So grain may not be instantly apparent in this scene, but it's pretty easy to expose it by raising exposure. I can flash the grain, and particularly if I look at a single channel, now I can see all of this extra motion in areas of the scene that you'd expect to be static. And now the cube looks really way too static. Believe it or not, your eye picks up on this even when we don't expose it so much. Not only that, you can't ever guarantee that your work isn't going to end up on a screen that's brighter than you intended. I'm going to apply the match grain effect directly to the cube layer. Now here's a gotcha. By default, anytime you apply match grain, you get this white box. This dates back to when computers were very slow, and so it was necessary to start in preview mode. Let's just go to Final Output. And the other thing you always have to do is select a noise source layer. That would be the background. In this case, it's already in the scene, so I can just select it. If it weren't, I could bring it in and even turn it off if I don't want it visible. Now that it's here, the grain has gone from non-existent to really too prominent. In motion, I can see that it's standing out quite a bit from the rest of the scene. It's normal to use the tweaking controls to just dial in the intensity, size, and softness of the grain. So in this case, I think the grain looks a little bit big and rather intense. And with some simple adjustments, I see it blending in a lot better, at least here on the red channel. We can also take a look at green. It's a bit subtler. And blue, where the grain is typically most pronounced. And they're all looking pretty good now. Compare the final result to what I started with, and all of a sudden, all of what I thought were other problems with my element, like that I was just scaling it up too much, or that it doesn't have interactive lighting on it, really kind of go away. The grain actually helps sell the shot and helps make this fake element look more convincing. So before you consider a shot final, make sure not to forget about grain. Otherwise, people might not believe the shot for reasons that you and they don't even fully comprehend.